Today's face of the day is typical for all natives of the USSR. Can you guess where? In the old days, there was a saying, do not go under the portrait of Stalin with a Khrushchev and do not stand under the portrait of Brezhnev with a hammer. You will end up in a coffin. Today, we suggest that you take a short trip through time and see what kind of buildings adorned our cities in the mid-20th century. Welcome to the time of the birth of a new man and a new society, July 31, 1957. The Central Committee of the CPSU and the Council of Ministers adopted a historic resolution on the development of house in construction in the USSR. It was then that the Khrushchevka was born, a cheap prefabricated building designed for a short service life. Architects threw out all sorts of excesses in the form of arches, columns, and decorations of buildings. The goal was to multiply the living space in the country as soon as possible, and the means to use new technologies and new building materials such as large panel construction. It should be noted that the Khrushchevka was not the first type of panel house, but it was the most massive, and therefore it was the most famous. The developers have set very ambitious goals to build a house in one day, but at least in 1 week. For comparison, the construction of a typical 5-story brick house took about 2 years. Prefabricated houses were supposed to solve the problem of the shortage of housing in the country, and although the architects were not very enthusiastic about the new project, they still had to build them. After all, by 1960, the country needed 100 million square meters of housing a year. By 1965, this figure had risen to 130 million. And by 1970, they were already building 180 million square meters of housing a year. Most of the buildings were, of course, Khrushchev's cottages. Khrushchev's cottages can be criticized a lot. They are bulky, they are ugly, they are far from being strong enough. But in the end, they did what they were supposed to do. And they lived much longer than their estimated service life, which was planned to be 25 to 50 years. Yes, today it is difficult to surprise someone with them, but it's a completely different matter if you haven't seen them before. Take a look. This is how whole areas of our cities looked like. And this is how the streets of many Soviet cities looked like. No decorations, no columns, no arches. Just imagine how fast they were built. A whole house in a week. Khrushchev's buildings accompanied us throughout the entire Soviet period and even after its collapse. And only now, when the country's economy is booming again, are we beginning to get rid of this strange legacy of the past.